Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin. Now, you know me, I'm super high on this bad boy. I believe this coin, this meme coin, is going to break records. Now, the first things first, I'm going to talk about the monthly candle, right? I said it was super, super crucial to be getting a close above 0.0045, right? This line over here. And we can see, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We did it, right? I said either above it or break even is technically okay. And the reason why it's technically okay is because the floor is rising, right? This is the main point over here, that we have this floor, or so we have this bottom, then we have this higher low, but then also technically we also have this huge support, right? So those are the things that are really going for us, that are really squishing this price action to the upside when it comes to candle closes. Okay. But of course, just for extra confirmation, for that extra firepower to the upside, we wanted a great candle close. And honestly, it was pretty mediocre, right? It was pretty mediocre. All right. We did say when we did have this nice July candle that the most ideal thing would be closing above, right above this candle over here, right? But ladies and gentlemen, we never got that, right? On the weekly, we had a high, right? We had this high over here, and then we had a lower high because we closed all the way down here. So, it was it wasn't necessarily bearish, but it wasn't ultra bullish. And that's the reality, right? And that's just the reality. And we can see ever since this Monday hype on the 14th, we've just been selling off. We've just been selling off. And, I called it out very, very early, right? I called it out very, very early. We talked about how we have, this candle close up here, right? We have this 4 hour candle close up here and how crucial it is to close above this. And we never got it, right? And you can just see we have been consistently printing lower and lower highs consistently, right? That is why I say candle closes are extremely important. That is why I look for certain price action, because I don't care about, the hype or this and that or this. Yeah, that's always important to a certain extent. But generally speaking, the candle closes always tell the story, right? They always, always tell the story. Even back here, when we said, yeah, it's going back down, but I said as long as it closes above this low, right, then we should be seeing another push to the upside. I mean, that's literally what happened. So, you know, people can say what they want about technical analysis, but this thing is king, right? This thing is king. So let's talk about some of the price action that is more relevant to us right now. So we tapped off this order block right over here, ladies and gentlemen, right? We tapped off of it. We went right into it perfectly. Boom, we could see. Then we had an instant reaction, right? For the next couple of hours, we were pumping up. But the one thing we didn't do is create a higher high, right? We see over here, we have these highs, and then we have a lower high, right? For more solid confirmations, we would have needed a close, like let's just say anywhere above this red line, especially if it was also above this huge resistance, right? If we would have closed here, it would have looked much more promising and much more healthy. But we just never got it, which is why I was skeptical, right? I was skeptical. I did say there's technically a chance where we could bounce off of this zone over here, right? But once again, the daily candle closes and all the candle closes are really important. And when we go to the daily, right, this was just a huge rejection. Like this daily candle close is absolutely disgusting in terms of, any buying pressure. It's a beautiful sell candle. Beautiful, beautiful sell candle. But in terms of buys, absolutely disgusting. We also did discuss that, even, you know, I did expect in the beginning that we are going to be sweeping some candles, right? I expect this zone at the bare minimum to be getting swept, right? Because we are in August and the next relevant July candle is down here at 0.00438. So for me, this getting swept and tapping into this daily order block is where I would really think the actual reversal is going to happen. Right? I would be really, really surprised, and there's no real reason for us to start going lower and lower, especially back in the 3/8s, the 3/9s. Like we should never be seeing the threes ever again. Okay. And that is just the truth, right? That is just the truth. In terms of Bitcoin, we are still going down, right? Just like we called it, just like we expected, we are still going down. And I do believe we should be going down even lower. That's because, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't officially filled the gap yet, right? We haven't filled the gap yet. So, going down, let's say even over 1%, even if we went down a lot, right? Even went down 3%, that would still align with everything, right? That would align with also Turbo coming back down an extra couple percent. Boom. Let's see. Yeah, 6%, 8%, wicking down to 10%, right? It would all make sense and it's all perfect. So I still think Bitcoin is fairly bullish. I just think we need to be filling up this gap. And once we get this gap over with and we retest from, these relevant areas, and I do really think that, Bitcoin's going to look to make another high. Okay, that is what I personally think. But ladies and gentlemen, we are slowly coming to the end of the video. Once we tap off this order block, obviously I want to see more confirmation, right? It always starts, good confirmation always starts with the 4 hour, right? It always starts with the 4 hour. But this is where I think everything is going to change. Also, I do want to show you guys something, right? If we go to something like the weekly, no, not the weekly. Where did I see it the best? The daily. When we zoom out on the big picture, ladies and gentlemen, we can clearly see, right? We can go like this. We are between this zone and this zone, right? We're just moving sideways. We are just ping ponging on, big zones, big key zones. And once we break through this big key zone of 0.0065, you know, it's going to look really, really juicy. I mean, the next zone you can kind of debate is over here. But then after that, we are just going to be flying practically back to all time highs, right? We can see, right? So once this is over, I'm actually going to be looking probably somewhere. I'm looking for buys here. I might take a leverage trade, possibly, somewhere down here. We might do something like this, boom, and up to the next zone because I really, really do believe we should be hitting it. And I would be really surprised if we didn't. Okay. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we can just see on a higher time frame, we were just literally zoning, ping ponging. And the next time we blast up, we can even go upwards of a cent. So, yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.